My beloved brothers and sisters, compassion is not just a beautiful word, it is the very heartbeat of humanity. When we look around us, we realize that the world is filled with people carrying unseen burdens, struggles, pain, and silent cries that often go unnoticed. To be compassionate is to allow ourselves to feel what others feel, to see their struggles as our own, and to respond with kindness rather than indifference. In a society where selfishness and greed are often glorified, compassion becomes a rare gem. But it is this very gem that has the power to transform lives. A compassionate act, no matter how small, can bring hope to someone who feels forgotten, can bring warmth to someone left out in the cold, and can bring a sense of dignity to someone stripped of it by hardship. Imagine a child going to bed hungry or an elderly person sitting alone with no one to care for them. For us, a plate of food may mean little, but for them, it can mean survival. A visit, a kind word, or even lending an ear to someone who has no one to talk to. These simple acts of compassion breathe life into hearts that may have almost given up. Compassion is not measured by wealth or power, it is measured by sincerity. It is about seeing beyond ourselves and recognizing that every single person has the right to love, respect, and support. When compassion guides our actions, we begin to see people not as strangers, but as family. Their pain becomes our concern, their happiness our joy. This is why compassion is not just a personal virtue, it is a social responsibility. Without it, society becomes divided, cold, and heartless. But when compassion exists, bridges are built between the rich and the poor, the strong and the weak, the fortunate and the less fortunate. It teaches us that life is not about competing for resources, but about sharing them so that no one is left behind. Compassion also heals us in return. When we help someone, we find peace and fulfillment within ourselves. It makes our own struggles lighter because by lifting others, we lift our souls. In reality, compassion is not only about changing someone else's life. It is also about changing our own hearts, making them softer, more alive, and more connected to our Creator. True greatness is not in how much we accumulate, but in how much we give of ourselves. The wealth of the heart is greater than the wealth of the pocket, and compassion is the key that unlocks it. Helping those in need is not just a matter of choice. It is deeply rooted in our religious and moral duty as human beings. Across history, every faith, every culture, and every teaching that has stood the test of time has placed service to others at the center of a meaningful life. In Islam, this responsibility is emphasized again and again. The Quran constantly reminds us about the rights of the poor, the orphan, the traveler, and those who struggle in silence. It teaches us that giving is not merely an act of generosity, but a form of worship, a sign of gratitude to Allah for the blessings He has given us. When we share what we have with others, we are acknowledging that our wealth, our time, and even our abilities are not truly ours, but gifts entrusted to us by the Creator to be used wisely and justly. Think about how powerful this concept is. Every coin you give, every hand you extend, every effort you make to ease someone's burden is written with your name on it. It becomes a witness for you on the day of judgment. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ described charity as a shield that protects us from hardship in this world and the hereafter. Sometimes even the smallest act done sincerely can outweigh a lifetime of neglect. That is how serious and beautiful this duty is. When we forget this responsibility, society begins to crumble. The rich become richer, the poor become forgotten, and injustice takes root. But when people honor this duty, when they make it part of their everyday lives, then kindness flows like water, nourishing everyone it touches. Our world desperately needs this spirit again. Helping those in need is not just about handing over money. It is about creating justice, about ensuring that no one is left to struggle alone while others live in ease. Helping others, therefore, is not a burden. It is a privilege, a chance to prove to Allah that we value His blessings and want to use them for good. It is not always about giving from abundance. Even when we give from little, the sincerity behind it makes it weighty. What matters is the heart, the intention, the willingness to put someone else's need above our own comfort. So often we think that in order to help others, we need to have large amounts of money, a grand platform, or the power to change entire systems. But the truth is, real impact is found in the smallest of gestures. A smile offered to someone who feels invisible, a kind word spoken to someone weighed down by hardship, or even simply listening to a person who has no one else to share their pain with. These acts may seem small in our eyes, but to the one receiving them, they can mean everything. Life is made up of moments, and sometimes the simplest moment of kindness can turn someone's day or even their entire life around. When we reflect on the teachings of Islam, we find that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that even removing a harmful object from the road is an act of charity. This shows us that good deeds are not measured by size or cost, but by intention and sincerity. The smallest deed done with a pure heart can outweigh even the greatest displays of wealth if the intention behind those is lacking. Every person, regardless of their circumstances, has the capacity to contribute. No one is too poor, too weak, or too unimportant to make a difference. That is the beauty of small acts. They are within reach of us all. Imagine a person who feels broken, who has lost hope. They may not need money or material things, but rather someone to notice them, someone to remind them that they matter. A simple gesture of acknowledgement, a word of encouragement, or even just standing beside them in their moment of difficulty can be a lifeline. These are the small acts that ripple outward, spreading light in ways we cannot always see. Sometimes the person you comfort in a moment of despair goes on to help hundreds of others because of the strength you gave them. This is how small acts create chains of goodness that continue long after the original deed. We must never underestimate the value of the little things. Life itself is made up of small moments, and often the moments that change us forever are not grand or loud, but soft, simple, and sincere. A single drop of water may seem insignificant, but together drops form rivers, and rivers sustain life. So never hold back a kind word, a gentle smile, or a helping hand, because what may seem small to you may be life-changing for someone else.